want to go over a bunch of things. And we have a bit of a surprise later on. So Lucas is already in the chat. I think he's getting some food. So I think we'll be doing the breathwork session in the middle of things to switch things up a little bit. And yeah, I kind of want to just give an update on what's happening, what's what we're currently up to, what the game plan is, because I've been like doing a bunch of things in the background. Lots of marketing, lots of setting. I've also cut the lawn here, so we are like on a freshly cut lawn, which is pretty nice. You see like how big the grass is actually
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
already. So um yeah, like we're about to so let me quickly move. I am about to build like a whole ring around this office with these kind of stones.
Mm-hmm.
um I need to show you the stones. They're
Yeah, I
behind the
see
tree.
a ton of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of like build a thing around them. So this is one of the quests
It's gonna be
that
like a
I have.
tower.
Huh?
It's gonna be like a tower.
Um, yeah, like it's more around it, and then
Mm-hmm.
like turn the tower of stones into a pyramid. So,
Okay. I think I
um,
get it. Yeah.
so Lucas just offered to do the breathwork now. Okay, he has to install Chrome. So we'll be doing the breathwork in just a second. So this allows me to give a bit of an update on both the YouTube marketing side of things, because this is currently the focus. It is the one thing that I've identified that like I want to niche down into, because when we follow the synthesizer roadmap, which by the way I launched the podcast with Aiden today, um, I'm really happy about it, especially since we recorded it up here. um, so yeah, you can still check out the video. And I've been like changing the packaging of all of the videos. I actually want to like quickly share this where we are at right now. So this is currently the packaging. You see it?
Yes, I do.
Nice. So I've been making these like much simpler,
Yeah.
not as fancy. So this is the get paid shared solutions on the podcast. Like we did the recording for an hour, but I was able to cut out 50 minutes that weren't that relevant. Then we have just like very simple designs, like 3 words kind of like being the maximum. You see like the things that I haven't worked on, which is like
Yeah.
all the way down here. So I still have ideas to do that. um like especially these 3, I still want to um adjust, or like these 4. So these would be all the ones that I did in April, and just improve the packaging and see how this is gonna like change the views. And we do have one that kind of like is blowing up, which is pretty neat. But like obviously we're just getting started, so this is just the first aspect. um
That's cool.
but
I like this way better, actually. Like in terms of YouTube,
yeah,
I think they will convert way more.
yeah, I think so too. I tried being too fancy and cute with them, and I was like, oh, like how can I make them as detailed as possible? And I was like obsessing about things, and like people don't A care, and B they don't see it, and 3 it just adds noise and it actually prevents them from clicking it. So yeah, that's why I've been kind of like simplifying things. So shout out to Kai, who's been helping me a lot with that. And another reason why I want to like do stones. For example, like where I'm sitting right now, I want to do also a half circle around the stones and add a circle to that. So I have like a common ground that I can sit on. What's up,
Nice.
Lucas? How you
Hey,
going? How you
Lucas.
doing?
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here. I love the tour of your garden. It looks like a very pristine place.
Yeah, I've been working on this for quite some time. So it's a bit of like a passion project of mine and my dad. We are both like he is very much into home improvement and I'm very much into self improvement. And since it's like the this is like the my home office, um like both of our interests kind of align on there. So that's why it's like a nice bonding time between him and me. And I wanted to quickly get into the update on Notion. So before we were doing some updates um, on YouTube, but I've also been building some things in Notion, and I just wanted to share where this is currently at. Actually, there still need to be some adjustments because this is not where I want things to be
I really
since
love how you said that, like, you have the self-improvement, your dad has the home improvement, because I feel like that perfectly mirrors the inner-outer relationship, that we all have. It's like how we feel on the insides and then how we show up as a character in the world, playing our part on the outside. And Sophia and I were actually talking about the other day about like the importance and the depth of how deeply you can go into yourself and really the richness that is always here in every moment. And we can just sort of tap into that a little bit by, doing simple awareness exercises like imagining that you're a fly on the wall, watching yourself, observing yourself, like what are you doing right now? And or just taking a deep breath and sort of like tapping into how do I feel on these different levels. So yeah, really love that sort of dichotomy that's
mm,
showing up in your life of the father and the son, the inner and the outer, working on a in a similar place. So thanks for
Yeah,
I
I
love
sharing that.
definitely agree with that.
yeah, appreciate that additional insight. And I think this is what I'm also trying to do more, maybe to give a little bit more context. So I uh have gotten a lot of clarity on the thing I want to do more in the long term. Like I've always known it, but I don't think until now I was able to put it into simple words that are clear. And I think one of the key things that I want to focus on is relationships, specifically connecting the right people with one another. And that's why I think I want to build bridges between communities because a community by itself is not nearly as valuable as an interconnected community that allows you to like connect with multiple people and all of your passions. And I think this is the value of school, but I don't think it's utilized as much. So something that I want to do with Notion specifically is to start creating these bridges between different people, between different communities. And for that, I am building this network of all of the people that I interact with regularly and the biggest players on school that I think have a lot of value to give and um, have a lot of things that we can learn from. And I'm trying to synthesize it down and allow us to get to know each other much more quickly. So we've all worked with tribe at like one degree or another, and one of the aspects that I always love there is the focus on the vision, the values, the personality, and this because these allow us to understand one another at a much deeper level. So I'm thinking, how can we scale this? How can we give more people the ability to meet one another super quickly. Decide, is this someone that I'd like to spend more time with? Is this someone that I would want to hop on a networking call with? How aligned are we? And the more aligned we are, the better we'll probably get along. And out of that, a bunch of different connections can come, whether that be like business relationships or just like general friends. And I think having all of these information accessible is something that I'm currently building out. So I just wanted to currently show you two versions. And I know that Lucas has also been working on something like this for himself. And we can jump into his side of things because you're also still using a bit of an older version. So we can see whether the changes I made were actually like an improvement or not. So let me quickly share what I mean with that. Um, so I have to share my entire screen. And this is how I generally think of life. So we have a mission on where we ultimately want to go. That includes things that we enjoy, things we're good at, and things that we believe the world needs. And we can go deeper into personality and strengths and motivation, but usually I don't dive as deep into that. And we're gonna see this in just a second on like the template that I more or less releasing this week. And I'm like, it's the last week of collecting feedback. We also have the journey on like where we have been in the past, but I'm actually thinking about moving this into the quests. And these are the quests that I'm currently um having for 2025. So this allows us to see specific things that I'm doing in my health, relationships, and wealth. And I think we need to make this a little bit smaller. Yeah, to see this properly. And we see some of these quests are like, if I scroll down, they are already completed. But this allows me to just see what I'm up to and what I have done in the past. And some quests are connected to multiple areas. For example, Meet with Data is a community with Kevin Wong that is connected to wealth and relationships. Um, and yeah, I just like to have these active projects that I'm working on and get an overview on that. And I want to have this included in this player profile. So for example, here we I Lucas, we just did this before. I started creating your player profile, and I tried to break this down and make it simpler and easier. And I gotten to the point where we only have the mission, and then we have different quests. And for example, if you want to have additional quests, we have this quest board here, which I still have to work on. So we can choose from different quests that um like I already started to curate, similar to how we have the synthesizer quest here, for example, that we can break down further. And yeah, I'm just curious, like, what do you guys think? Like, where am I moving in the right direction with this?
I would say so. To me, it looks more simple and kind of like it's basically easier to use, I would say. All the things have stayed the same, but just kind of the even the UI, like with the active quests, I feel like even that looks a bit better because I feel like it wasn't the same before. So yeah, I think it's definitely the right direction.
Nice. Um, yeah, and then like having these different quests that I want to nudge people towards. So, for
Yeah.
example, if you wanna start reading Mistborn, which I highly recommend, you can just pull this in here, and you see it's already connected to health. It's already connected to like a certain difficulty, and you can kind of like start doing this. And with this quest board that I still have to develop further, I hope that I can nudge people into different communities, even, or for example, say, hey, like, you seem maybe a little bit scattered depending on who I'm talking to. Maybe you should journal about your past, or write down your ideas, or think about the people that inspire you, so you can get some ideas where you want to go. So each of these exercises from journey, ideas, and guides are probably going to be separate um videos that I'm gonna like go into. I think we lost Lucas here. Um, but uh, yeah. So he's getting some food. I'll be listening in, and then we can do like a quick breath work. Um, but yeah, that's currently where I'm at with Notion, with YouTube, with marketing, and how I want to connect things. So yeah, this week is just getting a lot of feedback for that. How can I make it even better? There are already a few ways that I think I could already do that, but um I I don't want to start building and then someone tells me something that's like, "Oh yeah, of course." And then I kind of like have to redo everything. So just really listening to user feedback. Um yeah, do you see like any of like what do you think? How can we make this even better?
I do like the idea of the quest board. I feel like how it could look like in the future to have some kind of like suggested quests based on like what you've done before, like curated for you. So you will have like a database with those quests, but like for the specific person, you will recommend specific quests based on like what they've done before and what their mission and goals are. I feel like that could be a really cool thing.
Yeah, I'd love to eventually have um like once Notion AI is a little bit further advanced, I think we can do that. And that's also why I think it's so important to have the mission on like what you enjoy, what you're good at, what you think the world needs, and then potentially diving deeper into your past, the things that you have already done, because the more data we have, the better we can make curated suggestions. So for now, it is more manual. So I'm gonna like hop on a call with a bunch of people, see, um, just kind of create it for them and see, okay, like how can I make this even better? Like what do I need to add or remove? It's probably gonna be a remove. That's gonna be difficult because it feels a little bit like you're you're killing off a part of yourself that it's like like I find it so important, but if it gets too complicated or complex to other people, then it end up hurting like the whole system. So um something that I want to figure out is because at the moment the synthesizer quest, for example, um like I already got the feedback that it is a little bit overwhelming for people if they have to do all of that. So let's hide this here. And if you open this up, you see all of these things. So like I'm still figuring out a way on like ideally you should only see the Discover content. And only after you check this off, the networking pops up. Um, but like I think I know how to do this with like a rank system. Um, and like an order. So you need to complete the previous one to get to the next one. Um, but I also want to move people to the step where they currently are. So if people are already having their case studies, then maybe they should move on directly to the client aspect. Um, yeah, I'm still figuring out how to do this better. Um, because it's very easy for me to do this manually or like one on one, and I think I just need to do a lot more of that and give people these personalized profiles and get people to start using that. Like, I'd love to get to the point where we like this Notion profile could be in everyone's school profile as the website, for example. So kind of using it as a link tree. So um and having like for that to work, we would need somewhat of a similar structure. So we'll probably need to have some links in there that people can access and can fill out. Um, but it should also not be too overwhelming. And maybe not the links, because the links are already on school. So what are things that you feel like would be valuable um when you want to get to know people on school?
I'm not sure. Maybe like just the link to their school profile would work, since like you've mentioned, they already have like the links in their profiles. That would be like, I feel like it would just not make sense for you to put them in Notion as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, maybe like, will there be people who you're friends with as well? I believe you talked about something like that, to just kind of like in
Mm,
LinkedIn see that. Basically, people like if you have mutual connections.
yes, I would not. Hey, Lund. Um, Good seeing you. Feel free to kind of like introduce yourself or ask any questions that you have. We're currently discovering what are the aspects in creating an extended version of a profile. So, um, yeah, like, so it wouldn't necessarily be just school, since like I do want to connect communities in generally with each other. So this can be school, but this can also be people that I meet at festivals, or that are at like different communities like Mind Valley, or kind of just generally wanting to improve their life and think about different areas that they can continuously get better at. Because I think we all in the end want to be healthier, wealthier, and more connected. And having that additional structure is something that I feel like is a gift that I can give to other people, because for me it comes very natural. And a lot of people say, yeah, like, okay, enjoy yourself. I've been working a lot on different thumbnails and changing the packaging. So um yeah, uh have a look around, listen in on what we're talking about. We want to, like, I want to document the journey towards 10K per month, and like really take things step by step and show like the path on that. And currently my way to do that is through connecting communities with one another. And yeah, we're currently talking about how we can connect people to one another, because once we have that, it's going to be easier to just add communities on top of that. Because when we start like connecting people, it's like, oh, you're like part of all of these other communities. um then this can also be valuable, and it can be outside of school as well. So um I've been thinking, I'm currently reading 10,000 Hours of Play by Yui Kai Cho, and he has 6 steps in that book that he outlines, and it's very similar to what we are building here in the Game of Life. So the first one is finding your mission. The second one is like discovering your attributes. And I think the closest to attributes would be strengths or personality. So that's kind of what I also have in the mission. And I feel like that would be valuable for people to know and get into. So, but I'm not sure if, because at the moment we have the mission look like this. Um Here. So, what do you enjoy? What are you good at? What does the world need? Because I wanted to keep things super simple. Um, and on my side, we have it like this. This is actually not centered. Come on, there we go. Yes. Um, and then we have personality, strengths, and motivation down here. Um, but we can also have these as separate quests, and like because I think Yukai or like most people, weird coming from me, but I feel like most people overcomplicate gamification. Um, and it's like, what's the simplest thing that we can do? Like, okay, well, you need a destination. You need some that like it doesn't need to be a specific destination, but you need a direction that you can walk towards. And the second thing is like you need to make progress on your journey. And I think if you have these two things, then you can already play. Of course, there are more elements that you can add to that, and this is what I'm currently thinking about, having different quests so you can add your personality, you can add your different strengths, you can add your journey and write down your highlights of the past years. You can have a vision wall and kind of like think about what you want to accomplish in your future, and you can add all these people that inspire you, that allow you to kind of like go in that direction. And I think all of these would just be different quests, and depending on where people are, this is more optional because not everyone wants to journal, not everyone wants to have a vision board, not everyone wants to think about like their different personalities, and that's okay. And that's why I want to give people the choice of that. um yeah. And then like something that I'm also working, which is probably something that we'll touch on next week a little bit more, is a marketing template, because this is also something that I see as a quest that we can kind of like get into and help people with, because in the end the like it's very hard to not succeed when we have an abundance of leads. So that's why I'm trying to solve that problem. But we are actually at the halfway mark, and I'd like to take that opportunity to just take a deep breath, maybe more than just one, and have Lucas guide us through something, unless you're eating right now and I don't want your food to get cold.
No, I am not eating right now. I am here and present for this. I think you've brought up a lot of great points here, and I just had a couple of thoughts, before we go into the breath work, just to infuse, this conversation and our breathing with this. It's like what is that game that we are all playing? Like your question was, when I hop on school, when I connect with people, what do I want to know about them? Well, I think it's like in the context of the game, and bring this out, big picture view. Where are we as Team 21st Century Humanity right now? We are facing these existential risks of environment, pathogens, war, technology, and well, we gotta figure something out, Like, I don't know what the solution is, but I do know we do need a solution because the way that we are going, we don't have, like, our grandkids don't walk on grass, right? So I think that's sort of the game that we're playing is the infinite game. How do we play this game that we keep on playing? How do we play this game that we want to keep on playing? And well, our teammates and our enemies are ourselves and Team 21st Century Humanity, right? It's us versus ourselves at this point. And so, really, I think it's such a crucial skill to develop the ability to self regulate, to be good in yourself, for you to be able to be at peace and good in yourself so that you can then share your talents, share your gifts to this larger conversation, this larger game that we're all playing together here. So that's a great segue for breath work is a great way to bring yourself into a place of peace, of alignment in your soul, your mind, your heart, your physical body. It's also a great way to connect with each other, with the space around you. As you were saying, your self improvement and your home improvement, breath is what brings the outside world to the inside world and shares the inside world with the outside world. So, today we're going to do one of my favorite breathwork techniques, which is called the arch and the bow. And so it's going to be a little bit interactive here. We're going to stand up. And the first one is essentially you're going to stand, lift your hands up, ground your feet down, stack your knees, your hips, your abs, and lift your hands up. And then you're going to do a back bend and sort of just look up to the sky with your hands behind you and just take 10 full deep breaths. Might be a little bit intense. You don't need to push it 100%, just around 80% of what you're capable. But really breathe in deeply. You should really feel your body activating. Maybe you're feeling some tingling sensations in your fingers and other places of your body. Just keep taking those soft, full breaths. Really opening yourself up to receive the blessings of today. How amazing is it to be alive? A few more breaths here. Just keep on breathing. Really tap into that depth, opening yourself up. On your next breath in, I want you to return to a straight position. Very slowly here, with ease. Take it slow. The blood is going to be moving around in your body, in your head, so just take it slow. Don't push anything. And as you exhale, bend over into a sort of hanging ragdoll position. Bend at the waist and just breathe deeply into your lower back, letting your head, your hands, your neck, just let them go. This is the bow position. You'll feel some sensations on the inside, the blood flowing to your head, to your arms. Just keep your awareness on those deep, full breaths, really accenting, bring them into your lower back. Just letting yourself hang. We're just hanging out here. Let your mind clear out any thoughts. Just let go. Allow yourself to reset, knowing that whatever you need for your work and fulfillment will be there. It's already here. When you need it, you can access it. A few more breaths here. Full deep breaths into your lower back. And on your next inhale, very slowly start to straighten out, feeling each vertebrae straighten out one by one until you reach the standing position. And just take a moment here, just a single moment before you return to the world, technology. Connect with yourself. Connect with the feeling that it is to be alive. Connect with gratitude. Maybe say a little prayer. Maybe say 3 things that you're grateful for: your health, sunlight, breath, friends, family, whatever it may be. Just embracing this moment of presence before returning. And we can come back to the call whenever you're ready. And hello, Czar and Lump. I'm sorry that you weren't able to do that, but you can also do that in your chair. If you don't have a lot of space, you can just sort of arch out your back. And it's not about pushing it too much, it's just about wherever you're comfortable and just, having that connection, that presence with yourself. So, um, yeah, thank you for joining me with in those breaths, in those active full body breaths. The arch and the bow.
It's good to just move again sometimes, and I feel like sometimes we just forget in the 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 day to day. We forget to move, we forget to breathe, we forget to um just be. And yeah, thank you for reminding us in a way and leading us through this. So I feel so much more relaxed.
Good.
Uh, yeah, I've been like kind of stressing to get the podcast done. So and yeah, now I'm just like, well, like first of all, I did get it done, so I'm still happy about this. But like on the other side, just it's not the most important thing, because the most important thing, at least for me, are these connections. And you mentioned this infinite game that we're playing, and I think if we really want to play as long as possible and we take into consideration where AI and exponential innovation can take us, it can obviously make things much worse than they are. But I I'm very positive, and I like to think about, okay, but like, what if things continue to get better? Because so far in history, things have always gotten better compared to at least like the previous century. So if things continue to get better and innovation continues to accelerate, and um, I think we're gonna get at a point where both our health as well as our wealth is going to be abundant, because AI and robots will continue making us even more productive, and we don't have to do as much anymore. We already see it that some countries move towards like the four-day week. And I think in the future we're going to see a lot of people being laid off of their jobs because it's not important. And of course there's going to be like a very big, like, in between stage where things can get a little bit messy. But over the long term, I think we are going to be at a point where wealth is somewhat abundant and we don't have to worry about like necessities or the basics of life. And similar to our health, um we can have chips that remind us to breathe more deeply, to um be outside, to look at the sun, to kind of like do all of these things. But something that I feel like is much harder to do, or much harder to be abundant, is relationships. And I think this is what this is ultimately about. And like, how can we connect more deeply? How can we help each other, collaborate, and make sure that we achieve our own quests? So for the last like 18 minutes, I want to hear all about your quests, what you're currently working on, in terms of your health, wealth, and relationships. And maybe one of us can like has something to say, kind of like give a nudge on that. So Sophia, you haven't said something since the breath work. Why don't you start?
Yeah, sure. Um, I think I have a couple of quests. So, and mostly right now I'm focused on wealth. So I would say the biggest one for me is to like okay, I think it needs to be breakdown to be honest because the quest is about tribe and it like goes into two parts. So the one like the first one is for me to learn a bunch of skills that can in the future help me make money and with tribe also my goal is to help them as much as possible um, to get to 15K a month by the end of this year. So this is kind of like two parts for it. Like the one is learning, the other one is doing.
Nice. I like it. So specifically what's the thing actionable? It's like you've given us the thing for the year,
Yes.
but what's the thing that you're currently occupied? Like what's a project where you actively work on? It's like, hey, this is something that I can check off and get a
Mm-hmm.
little bit closer to the thing within this quarter, for example, or this month maybe even.
Yeah. There's a bunch of projects, but I would say the most important one would be marketing, content and marketing for me by the end of this quarter to actually get the process down so that it becomes a repeatable system. Like right now, me and Daya, the other guy who's working in Tribe, um, we're both doing like a ton of research for YouTube, like what works, what doesn't. And I feel like that's a big project for me right now.
Nice. Yeah, we're in the same boat.
Yes.
I'm excited to share notes and see how we can help each other grow with that. But
Yeah, me as well.
yeah, really like helping like getting more leads, attracting more leads. I find like you mentioned learning skills.
Yes.
It's going to be such a valuable skill to have if you know how to attract leads on scale.
Yeah.
What about you, Lucas? What's your current quest that you're um kind of like working on and playing with?
My current quest is, I would say, like mapping out my next quest. You know, I have a few different paths that I can go in terms of that, like the skills, the career path that I'm going upon. And so now it's really evaluating the pros and cons, seeing what options I have, and choosing one path and committing to it. And, you know, Hormozy says like commitment is saying no to everything else. And so, you know, I love to play with ideas, choose ideas, commit to the ideas, but the saying no to everything else part, that's the challenging part. So I am sort of in that stage of defining what my quests are. But I do have a few that I am clear on. One being health. I'm recovering from a surgery, so it's just sort of like getting back into salsa dancing, swimming because it's sort of like low stress on the body. So, and yeah, just taking care of my diet because of stomach appendectomy. So health is definitely always because, you know, a thousand man wants, I mean, one, a healthy man wants a thousand things. A sick man needs one, right? So that's very key. And also creating like content a little bit more, but in a way that is very aligned with sharing my message. Like I really believe in the game of life. You know what we're doing here. You know, I think that our journey of self-development and you know the journey from the first breath to the last is one that should be enjoyed and shared with friends. And there's this concept of squirrel wealth versus bear wealth. Squirrel wealth, you like gather all your nuts, all your resources, and you just sort of plant them. You know, you cover them, you dig some holes and put them somewhere so that you store them away essentially in all these different spots. Like maybe I'm gonna need that, I'll have it then. But they get lost. Other squirrels, you know, like dig them up and eat them. And it's not a very good strategy, you know, if you're trying to go big. You know, squirrels are small and skittish, and I feel that sort of also reflects um, that sort of personality of desperation and needing things instantly. But bear wealth, it's patient. It takes a while. It's months and months of loading yourself up and bringing your wealth inside of your body. And so that sort of wealth is it's really relationships. It can't be taken away from you. Someone can't steal your your fat itself. Your body uses that up how it needs. And so I've really been taking on this perspective of like, how can I bring bear wealth into my life rather than this squirrel wealth? And how can I be the bear in terms of being patient, being grounded, being an immovable force rather than a squirrel that's sort of skittish and reacting to the elements and everything. Um, so in that, tying that back to my quest is I am working on my breathwork business, and so I do have a couple of clients, and so it's really playing the long-term game of how can I make this something that is truly transformative for people that they really have these tools of breathwork in a way that complements their life rather than being, just something for a phase. It's like sustainable change through changing the way that they breathe. So it's really that quest is around getting to the heart of how can a breathwork really transform an entrepreneur's life.
Hmm, I love that. Um, so many things to touch on. By the way, Lund, if you want to like share something, you just feel free to just like write it in the text or raise your hand. Um, First of all, swimming, like hell yeah. I'm thinking about starting to swim here as well. Like the pools are, open pools are opening in like 15 days or like 2 weeks basically. So I'm excited to do that. So it'll be like somewhat of a shared quest. But yeah, I feel the choosing of one thing because like we can do anything but not everything. And uh like this somehow feels so painful that like we can't do all these things. And um yeah, making that choice is definitely not easy, and I'm still struggling with that today. And if we look at Hermosi, it seems like we're never gonna like stop struggling with that because there'll always be more shiny objects, more women or man in red dresses, depending on what you want to go after. But um, yeah, uh, that's what about you, Sophia? Like, do you have a health quest as well, or are you currently like all in on your wealth quest and prioritizing that?
I think I'm prioritizing the wealth quest right now. Like for health, I feel like it's just maintenance for me, just still working out a couple of days a week, running. That's I just love doing that. And yeah, but I'm not focusing it as much as I did like a year before, for example.
Mm. Yeah, I think health can somewhat be in the background, like as long as like maintenance is much easier than um like actually actively recovering from an injury, or if you want to um I don't know, lose certain amount of weight or get a six pack or like do all of these things, the attainment of that is much harder. Or like the yeah, attainment is much harder than just the maintenance, and kind of separate from power, I guess. But yeah, it's just easier to kind of like keep going. I like most of my health quests are actually fictional stories. So it's not like physical bodily health, it's more um like emotional health, like clearing my mind, not having to like just dealing with stress. Something that I love to do is just go into different stories and kind of like disappear. And yeah, for I think these are also health related, but it's not something that we usually think of as health. um
I have a
but
question, Luke.
go ahead.
So in a bigger picture, you are creating this game of life system to gamify life, right?
Yeah.
But my question is like really how does this game of this, okay, I have my Notion template tracking all of my quests. How does this game fit into the collaborative game? You know, how do
Mm,
I play with you and Sophia? Where is the shared connective piece between our different stories, characters, whatever it may be?
that is a great question. So I have been somewhat building this in the background, and I can just kind of like share where we are at the moment. So, because I like my profile here is only one of many profiles. So here we have all of the players that have different ranks or different roles. So that's what I think as like all of these different players. And we see, for example, what their role is and how much experience they have. So at the moment, I think I grouped it after the rank. But if we only go for the experience, then okay, internet is a little bit slow. Maybe because I'm outside. Um,
It seems
also,
from the
also
players that you have here, the game is really um, grounded in school, you know, in creating the communities to in creating online communities, essentially a billion online communities, right?
yes. So I basically um like these profiles that I'm creating, I want them all to be super similar to each other so people can recognize them and then kind of like really start playing. And I think they're um like in school specifically, I think there are only three things that matter, or like in business. So it's attract, convert, and deliver. So I want to track the experience that people collect in these three specific things because they are generally school relevant, and then give them the opportunity to collect the experience in their personal life, their health, and also relationships. Because if we think about our wealth, that's basically convert or like attract, convert, and deliver. But in terms of our health and our relationships, there's more to that, right? Like there's like physical quests that we can complete and that kind of like push us further. And to answer your question, I think we are all already playing a game, but we just don't have the shared activity. So what I want to help people with is a realize you're already playing a game, whether you know that or not, and kind of like equip you with the tools and the systems to play the kind of game that you actually want to play. Because too many people, in my opinion, go through life less like the main character and more like a side character or a non-playable character, an NPC. And I really want everyone to become the hero of their own story, like really choose the kind of life they want to live. And by thinking of your own life as a game where you are the main character and you can make the choices to start a new job or practice a new skill, a hobby, start like a new relationship, connect with new people, network with them, start traveling. All of these things are your choices and decisions. And you are where you are right now based on all of these decisions previously. And maybe these decisions were happening subconsciously or someone else made them for you. For example, like the first time I studied, my parents kind of decided for me that I was going to study. And it took some time to figure out that this was not really the thing that I actually wanted. And the way that we all get to play together is just by thinking about we are all like the main character of our own story, and we are all like everything that we do is collecting experience, and it's just about how do we allocate these experiences and how can we help each other. Because let's say I put a lot of experience into health, and I'm getting really good at this, and I know like how to like stay physically and emotionally and mentally fit. And Lucas, maybe you're struggling with that, so I can help you with that. But you may be like really good at networking, at talking to people, at organizing events and parties and all of that, so I can get help from you. But we need to know that from each other. And Sophia may be like absolutely crushing it in the wealth area, but maybe like something happens and she does have a health crisis all of a sudden, or she she feels like she has been working so much that like the relationships have been more on the backseat, and now she has, like Sophia, maybe you achieve your goals and now you want to focus on something else. So if you know that Lucas, for example, is an absolute beast in organizing events, then you can use your experience in the wealth area and ask Lucas, hey, can you organize these events for me, or I'd like to like connect with more people and network with them. And this way, just knowing where we are and like at what kind of like level we are and what experiences we have and where we're going, it allows us to like play and collaborate with one another, because we are no longer these individual players playing our own game, but yeah, we are all playing together and thinking about how can we help each other out and really enjoy the journey together.
Yeah, completely agree. That's I wish that was already in place, to be honest. Like that sounds super cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this like actually kind of unfolds for people to actually use the system and for us to see each other's kind of like you mentioned experience, like the quest that we've achieved. And I do like the example that you brought up as well. So like if me or like somebody else is crushing it in a certain area, then they can get help from somebody else in a different area. So that makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah, and I think this is where we're moving to the point where we connect the people with one another and help them to play together. So yeah, with that, the bell is ringing. It's time for the school news. So thank you, Sophia.
Perfect.
Thank you, Lucas and Lump and Xa. Was a pleasure having you, and I'll see you guys next week. And yeah, remember to enjoy the journey while playing this game.
Yeah,
Peace.
see you later.